Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
Here's the kicker. The CISA, the CISA, said that basically the machines used in Georgia, this is 2 years after the election, comes out with a report and says the machines are not secure. A bad actor can hack in and a bad actor can flip an election, and they use these machines again going forward. This is outrageous stuff. I've told you, I've shared and before that I've done audits around the world. I've done audits in communist China, fraud, multi-million-dollar fraud audits in Japan and around the world. I've never seen anything so broken.
I've never seen something so broken. So that leads me to what this entire show is about. Like I want to just dive in and I didn't have a guest today. I canceled the guest today because I want to have a conversation about where are we? The gut punch of where we should be versus where we are when it comes to elections. 6 years. I got to go to Chicago. So last week I was in Phoenix, had a bunch of meetings. Then I went to Chicago and I spoke at the Illinois Freedom Coalition. No, I'll get it for you. At a church. David Clements was there. They had a bunch of other people there. It was fantastic. And we talked about what it takes. What are you willing to lose to win? What are you willing to lose? And so for 50 minutes, I talked about what people should be willing to lose in order to win their sovereignty back. And we still have the media and we still have this apparatus inside of our government that is running away from the truth. And we never seem to get to the very bottom of it. We never get to the bottom of what's truly happening in the country because there are so many things at odds. It's the uniparty, the left and the right, you can see with Mitch McConnell, that they don't want to solve the problem. And even those people that are out there, they know not to sniff the edges. They know that they can't get close to a proximity of finality because that does not favor the left or the right. It doesn't favor this group of people that are in power. It favors the people. And if you favor the people, then the grift will end. This grift led to budgets in Colorado going from $12 billion as a budget just 8 years ago to nearly $44 billion in 2026. Well, I mean, you tell me with inflation and everything else, what really happened? What's going on? What's happening in the country right now that is allowing for California, Colorado, and other states to just run deficits and steal money with impunity from the people of Colorado, people of California, and so on and so forth, while the people in the community get less and less every year. Now they put flock cameras to make sure that they can come after you and that they can write tickets from the air and they can do all these crazy things. But when is the last time that something happened that did not create another layer of oppression for the people in our community? It's either we overtax someone, we change the rules and make parents more in line or susceptible to being attacked. We have to groom children. We want to give eight-year-olds and 9-year-olds the ability to change their gender. And if parents don't reaffirm it, that that we'll just take the kids away from them, get CPS involved. And anyone that's been involved in the judiciary has watched this institutional rot, knows what we're dealing with. I mean, this is not hard to see. It wasn't hard to see what happened in the 2020 election. It was more difficult to see in the 2018 election because it wasn't as we weren't as educated on what was really happening. And in 2020, man, you had the pandemic, and they had to make sure it was spectacular. what they had to overcome with President Trump, one of the most popular presidents in modern day history, not just with Republicans, but with independents and Democrats. And even though you have this media apparatus that runs out there, the reality is still true. President Trump, being as popular as he is, set the stage for being able to uncover the fraud against the American people at every level, in every state, in every election that has happened for the last 20 years. And no matter how many experts we put in play, they say the same thing over and over again. Nothing to see here, misinformation, disinformation. Let's move on from it. You know, trust us, we got this, bro. And people like Mitch McConnell stand in front of it's nonsense. Which leads me to this post about a lack of action. Let's go and put it up. Is that the lack of action one? Is that A2? Okay. Okay. So Joe Hoft, so much of his information is readily available. The lack of action is complicit behavior to betray the people. So here's my issue, okay? I don't think that was supposed to be the post, but let me check something real quick. Well, that's good. It's not working. Well, I was wrong. Sorry, I did not. I wanted to come into today and not have as much fire as I have in my belly. But, you know, after this weekend, being away from my wife for 7 days, being away from my family for 7 days, working my business on the road while I'm having conversations and negotiating with people about what's really happening. Which brings me to this idea, and I need to ask you guys what you think. Tina Peters. You know, there are consequences for stolen elections, but who are there consequences for? By this time in 2021, or 2022, excuse me, a year into this kabuki theater we had with Biden, again, we could see it. The people could see it. The people are the ones that have actually solved this problem. Tina Peters has been in jail for 505 days. By this time in 2022, there was over 2,000 Americans that were in gulags and being punished with impunity. There was lawsuits that were out there. There were people that had summary judgments like Mayor Giuliani, where the judges just acted with impunity and said, we have density, we can do whatever we want. President Trump was facing massive arrests, felony indictments, while they basically played loose and changed the rules of laws and showed us that this is a lawless society. Now, fast forward into 2024, President Trump is elected, 2025, he comes out and does exactly what he says he's going to do, punches them in the mouth and starts with executive orders. And then immediately the court system steps in and says, block, 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 block. Tina Peters is in jail, 505 days. 505 days. She's on her second year. President Trump pardons Tina Peters. We still have the same apparatuses of elections that we had previously. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. You could say we reached in and we got Maduro, and we know what the reason is for that. We have all of this stuff, and all of it has to happen in the right time. And I believe that. I don't believe that President Trump has an appetite to go back to a place where his family would be ridiculed and attacked and where he would be under constant scrutiny. I don't think it's going to happen. This is the 250th year of the independence of the United States. But when you have such anemic leadership in most areas, Kash Patel, and I don't care if President Trump likes Kash Patel, I don't have to like him. I don't like Pam Bondi. I don't like Todd Blanche. There's people I don't like. Why? because they're apathetic to this idea that we can get back to a status quo and just let's put the people to sleep. They're not putting people to sleep. What they're doing is they're creating unity between Democrats, Republicans, and independents that we absolutely know who the enemy of the people is, and it's the selected leadership in our country. And you know what's really scary about that is that if you're honest, if people are honest about this, that means that we're not going into a civil war. There's no civil war. It's the haves versus the have-nots, and the have-nots are being told you don't have a First Amendment right to free speech, you don't have a Second Amendment right to right to bear arms. Let's not even get into the Fourth Amendment or the 14th Amendment. I mean, we are sitting in a place right now where we are in constant, we're the useful idiots. And it is nothing but kabuki theater. And I keep being told, you just got to wait. You got to wait. No, you don't. You don't have to wait. It's not complicated. Putting a case together is not complicated. And let me just tell you something else. Tina Peters rots in jail, and not once has the DOJ or people that are in power and authority gone and talked to the experts that we recruited that were at Sandia Labs. Not once. Because they play this stackable game where you have this person that walks in and says, let me be the one to walk it into Pam Bondi. Let me be the one to walk it into Tulsi Gabbard. And you should just rip the Band-Aid off and walk it in there and say, here's all the data. And the people at Dominion, Eric Coomer, John Polis, all of them should be thrown in jail and the key should be thrown away. And the judges in Colorado and in other states that stood in the way should be tried in a military tribunal. That should happen. And we should sign the Insurrection Act. This is not hard. This is not hard. This is not a difference of opinion. This is the difference between right and wrong. Elon Musk should not have had to step in 2024 to secure election for President Trump to win, only to see all the subsequent elections, including in Pennsylvania, Texas, and others, be stolen with impunity with the same substructure that exists in the systems that have existed for the last 20 years. And that little bitch, Eric Coomer, by the way, when he was at Patrick Byrne's deposition, lying his ass off, saying, I don't have anything to do with it. I was just a safety guy. I just sat here and, made sure nobody hurt themselves and acted as if he was the HR guy. He's walking into the deposition and he says, this will be a good part of my book. And I kept thinking to myself, this piece of trash, this lying, satanic piece of trash, which just shows you that the devil just feels like they're going to win. So this weekend I said very clearly, what are you willing to lose in order to win? Well, the left has already said that they'd lose everything, including their soul. Well, what are we willing to give up to protect our kids? It doesn't feel like we want to. Oh, we can't do anything about it. Mother after mother walked up to me afterwards and said, I lost my son, groomed by a biology teacher. Now he's gay, living in Austin, Texas. I'm sorry, that was a different one. Austin, Texas was a different one. Gay, living in Scotland, left the country. Completely lost. Difference between her older son, which is a straightforward to full-blown TDS, literally groomed into being gay in high school by a 10th grade biology teacher. And she knew it was happening when it was happening. She didn't know how to react to it, how to deal with it. Here's a post from Tina Peters that talks about 505 days later. Well, what's it all for? This is written by basically Tina Peters from jail. She had a conversation with someone this morning. Allie, thank you for that. Allie says, praying for you right now, Joe, for God to clear your mind and give you words to speak today. Let me read this to you. What was it all for? Tina Peters sacrificed everything, her career, her freedom, her name, all to expose vulnerabilities in our election systems by simply making a backup of what she was required to keep under federal and state law. Now in 2026, 5 years later, Tina still rots in prison, sentenced to over 9 years for daring to question the integrity of our votes and refusing to back down. 5 years later, over 500 days in prison, and here we are still relying on the same machines that put her there. Everyone knows, yet we are still slaves to these machines that continue to select candidates for us. And we hear nothing but silence from the powers that be. What are the results of still using these machines 5 years later? Radicals keep winning elections. Abigail Spanberger, Virginia's first woman and ex-CIA operative governor, pushes the centrist facade with day one executive orders on affordability, housing, health care, but Americans are not blind. Zohran Mamdani, New York City socialist mayor, openly champions democratic socialism through higher taxes, defunding police, plans for state-run grocery stores, calling the abolition of private property preferable. Brother-loving Ilhan Omar, tied to Minnesota's massive Somali-linked welfare fraud scandal, brands herself a brawler while being nothing but divisive and unfit for office. Analia Majaya, a Bernie Sanders AOC-backed progressive activist, ushered in another Democratic win in New Jersey. If the 2020 fight was about securing elections, why are we back to square one? Millions in legal fees, 5 years of fighting, over 500 days that Tina has been in chains for exposing the machine rigging elections, yet the black boxes remain. Here are the Mesa reports, by the way. Even DNI Tulsi Gabbard has publicly acknowledged these dangers in detail. In April of 2025, she stated, "We have evidence to how these election voting machine systems have been vulnerable to hackers for a very long time and vulnerable to exploitation to manipulate the results of votes cast." The mayor office seized an unspecific number of Puerto Rico voting machines and data that revealed extremely concerning cybersecurity and operational deployment practices posing significant risk to U.S. elections. In July, she cited whistleblowers info showing federal awareness of vulnerabilities that were not disclosed. Venezuelan whistleblowers have detailed Congress members on the take from election cartels, Smartmatic design vulnerabilities, and executives caught in bribery and money laundering scandals. Heidi Garcia, a Venezuelan computer engineer who worked for 13 years at Smartmatic, deployed machines in Venezuela and the Philippines, ran elections in Tarrant County and Dallas County, and still directs elections in Dallas to this day. Still, Tina remains in prison with an urgent cry to keep the pressure on. These machines have birthed a cancer that has stolen the voice of the people and infected every county. The difference between a free nation and slavery is one day, election day. If we don't get rid of the machines now, it will be too late. If Tina Peters' sacrifice means anything, it must solve this problem together now. If the machines were gone, Tina would not be in prison. There would be no narrative to justify the political might leveraged against her. So again, I ask you, what was it all for? Did Tina Peters go through all of this for nothing? The answer to that will be whether or not we eliminate machines from our elections or not. We owe it to Tina, to our grandchildren, to make sure that she is not fighting alone. Contact your congressman. Educate your community and work with your neighbors. Demand that your county commissioners get rid of the machines in your county. Call President Trump at the White House and tell him we need to get rid of the machines right now. Free Tina Peters. And you can sign up for emails and donate at tinapeters.us. Okay. Why is it that we as people know, and the social media platforms are still censoring crazy everything they said? Doesn't matter. I mean, Rumble's the worst, by the way. I'm just gonna say it right now. Rumble's not a free thought platform. It's not a freedom platform. It's a platform for them to disseminate and only let you hear what they want you to hear. They want you to hear the Dan Bongino message. They want you to hear Dan Bongino. They want to suppress everyone else except for Dan Bongino. And what I mean by that is that you get to hear what they tell you you can hear. And only people that are a part of their little cabal are the people that can actually get views. And that's if the views are even real. And it doesn't matter what platform you're on. Every time they mess up on a platform and all of a sudden it spikes through the roof. And I'm like, I wonder what I said in that one that's any different than the last one. And they're like, not much. And how do I know that? Because we'll get 150,000 people that will come to my website to watch a podcast, but they won't show up to watch it everywhere else? How is that possible? And if you believe Listen Notes goes through and does a thing. Why the audio version? Why is the audio version going through the roof, and yet Rumble is going down? This is Monday, so we're just getting started for the week, so I don't really want to put you in a position where you have negative thoughts about what's happening, because I don't think it's negative so much so. I don't think President Trump is not doing what he said he would do. I think he is. I think he's doing exactly what he said he'd do. I just think that the apparatus of government, the thing that he thought was weak enough that he could take it out, is so strong and so pervasive because people have been stealing money from you, the American people, for so long. I remember the whole platforms that were like the free, platform. Even those platforms are disintegrating under their own weight. Look at Public Square. Public Square was we're going to compete against Amazon. We had all of these, and I'm going to be the first one to tell you this. It could have worked. It could have worked. It could have worked. Public Square could have worked. But they were too busy they didn't know how to block and tackle. They had an amazing guy there named Josh Shave. He was the CMO. And there was decisions that were made to go just spend oodles of money out there feeding their own ego. And here's the thing about technology, right? So if you actually build technology the wrong way, or you try to singularly try to figure out what's happening at Public Square, and in large part Rumble too. I mean, Rumble's down 70% over the last year and a half. Why am I even talking about that? Because they've done so much damage to the people of this country, Democrat, Republicans, and Independents. No one's happy. You know who's happy? Mitch McConnell, because he gets to suck on whatever he's sucking on and stand up there like a zombie. And the CIA is doing a really good job of standing up candidates on the Republican side so they can say that they're going to have some wins. But those people are brain dead, like this Victor Marks guy in Colorado, completely brain dead. Guy said he was bipolar, it's a stage 3 deal. And yeah, I'm running for governor as well, and I don't care about anything. I was talking to my hairdresser, hair person today. And she's like, tell me about how, what you're talking about to people. And I told her, and she goes, is that popular among the establishment? I was like, no, not at all. It's absolutely not popular at all. I said, but this is what we have to do. We have to stop giving entitlements to people that don't belong here, that, stepping over Americans. And I started talking about the poorest among us, and everyone's like, oh, you want socialism. No. I want to create an environment where we stop shitting on people as a matter of record and stealing the sovereignty and their voice and allowing the communities not to self-govern, which is what it should be. But anyway, you have Public Square that now is a fintech company. It's not, they shut down the diapers that were basically diapers that were not funding abortion. Imagine that. They divested from the diaper company that is not, will not give $1 to abortion, because all the other diaper companies, Huggies and everything else, give to abortion clinics, Planned Parenthood, so on and so forth. It's an industry. And now it's collapsing on itself. I think it's in the process of maybe being delisted. And so you have that part, right? You have this part over here that is, and then you have Rumble, which, we've all seen it. It's kind of like, it's the difference between Hollywood and Bollywood. They don't embrace technology. They just adopt whatever everyone else has and then find a person that can put that together for them. And then the people that are really, really smart, that have gotten to the bottom of all the election fraud and really been the champions, the people that went to the Capitol and went to the ellipsis in 2021 because they were fighting for freedom and they wanted to redress their grievances, and they went to the Capitol, and in 2000 went to jail, and the other, however many was, 2 million, Well, those people went and hid because everyone wants to be a patriot till it's time to do patriot things. We know the elections are fraudulent. We know they're fraudulent. We don't think they're fraudulent. This isn't some subjective deal. We know for a fact they are fraudulent. We can all see it. We saw it in 2020. We have all the information. We have plenty of people. We have people that have no idea what code is, telling us safest, securest, most election in U.S. history, and we got to figure it out. And you guys don't understand how the system works. We understand how the system works. We understand what you're stealing. So then let's get to the other part here. As you start seeing the theft of more elections continue, which it keeps happening, there's this grassroots, this illusion. And they're not even hiding it anymore. They're not hiding it anymore. This is an Adams County GOP that put this up. Let's go put it up again. Colorado's grassroots illusion when 1,600 signatures equals only 29 real people. The situation in Colorado has reached a level of Democratic corruption so blatant that they aren't even trying to hide the math anymore. A Democrat candidate for House District 42, Eric Nelson, recently submitted over 1,600 signatures to get on the ballot, claiming strong grassroots support. The reality, the Secretary of State found that only 29 signatures were actually valid. That's a staggering 1.77% success rate. When your momentum includes names of deceased victims from the Aurora theater shooting and high school athletes that don't live in the district, it's not a campaign, it's a total insult to the integrity of our elections. What's even more disturbing is the lack of accountability. Despite nearly 1,000 signatures having no verifiable voter registration, over 100 lines missing names entirely, Nelson is still pushing forward through the assembly process. This is the same individual previously censured for allegedly falsifying academic records and facing stolen valor investigations. When the system allows candidates to submit thousands of fraudulent documents and simply shrug it off, citing confidentiality agreements with third-party circulators, the message is clear. The machines care more about the power than the rule of law. Democrat ethics in play. That's what's happening right now. And look, it may not be popular to talk about elections all the time. Do you think I want to? I would love to get to the part where we could even start talking about Iran. Let's just start there. I mean, just... And before I show this next piece, because I put it up on there, I saw that Kyle Seraphin and I were aligned perfectly in our thoughts on what's going on with Kardashian Patel, Kash Patel. And people are like, give him his time, let him do this. Man, I tell you what, let's play it. Let's play it. Of course, the bots were out in full effect. Go ahead and put the post up, would you? Would you put the post up? So I want to show you what happens when bots actually get a hold of it, when they said, uh-oh, this might get too popular. I said, Kash Patel is a boy, unserious, immature clown. This is disgraceful. He acts like a high school cheerleader getting passed around the locker room. There's a way to have dignity and a way to destroy it. The American people are sick of the Kardashian Patel act. This is pathetic. Kash is pathetic. While Americans suffer and continue to indentured servitude, giving up 56% of their income to the government-rotted system, this clown dances. I can't. Pathetic. Go to the comments. This is funny. So they're like, oh yeah, you're an un-American, you're a liberal, you're this. Andrew said, I respect a lot of what you do. I completely disagree. Half the country are rabid sports fans. Kash is that re-hockey. If you can't relate to, you weren't an athlete growing up, this victory was amazing, and it was because of a Jew. Who gives a shit about Jew? It's because of a Jew? Are you kidding me? It's because of a Jew. Here's this Firefly, this retard. But y'all don't want to talk about the lowest murder rate in this nation since 1900 because of FBI Kash Patel. What is wrong with you people? The FBI has nothing to do with the murder rate in the country at all. You want to know why it's the lowest? Because ICE kicked out a couple million people and threw a bunch of them in the gulag. And they're deathly afraid to do anything. So they went to sleep for a little bit until obviously we have another election, Democrats win, and guess what? Nothing left to see here. And it's not that I don't, man, I would have loved to watch the game. I would have loved to watch the game. I was supposed to go to the Olympics. It was like the thing. We were going to go to the Olympics and spend 2 weeks there and just have a great time, me and my wife. But I had work to do. I had to work on stolen elections and the fact that we can't seem to get through the Kabuki Theater. And you make phone calls to people and you watch the things that are out there. We can't even pass the SAVE Act, which isn't the cat's meow. It's not like this is going to be the thing that saves us. But I will tell you this. It's a good start. And to think that the person that actually is standing in front of it is a guy that literally stood up who doesn't even have, he's an empty shell of a man, Mitch McConnell. He can't even talk. But the attacks were fun to watch. You could tell that they were bots because they said this same thing. Lowest murder rate in the history of the country. Lowest murder rate. Parrot. And I'm thinking to myself, you guys are retarded. Oh, they're catching people with fentanyl. No, they're not. These are local task force that works in conjunction with the FBI to have them swoop in when there's a larger catch. But finally, they took it doesn't matter though. There's a fentanyl bust in Mesa County. Guy gets probation. Tina gets 9 years. Tina gets pardoned by the President of the United States, the most powerful man in the world, could drop a bomb on someone's head and destroy an entire village with a snap of a finger, but can't get a 70-year-old Gold Star mom out of prison. I got a whole lot of fuck-alls for this. I would have loved to have been there. I would love to have watched the hockey game. Unfortunately, here's my priorities. And when you finish the job, you're welcome to go do that stuff. But if you're a serious person trying to solve things, you solve the problem. Yeah, you can take time off. Please take time off. I want President Trump I want everybody to take time off. Show us progress. Show us an arrest. Give me one arrest. Go ahead, show me. Show me the one arrest. Show me two. Show me anyone that's been arrested. And do I think it's coming? Yeah, I think it's coming. I think President Trump has a thing for the dramatic, and we're headed into July 4th, and this is 250 years. I think the hammer of justice is going to come down, and it's going to come down somewhere around that time, but that'll be too late. Because here, for the village idiots out there and the people in the back of the room, so you guys understand this, they steal primaries. They put the weakest component. They put people in there that they know that they can influence and that are a part of this cabal. The people never get favored. I put up this post. Put it up. It's a fraternity in Washington. That post. Yeah, one job. That's it, just one job. Just mess with you, Damon. I put this up. I said it's a fraternity in Washington at the expense of the very people who actually solve the issues and get sidelined by the same fraternity that wants to be the cool kids. The public has a right to be bitter. We love that the U.S. hockey team won gold. That is a celebration of the country we're celebrating. No arrests, Lies about the Epstein files, stolen elections at every turn, during, before, and after the 2024 Trump win fueled by Elon having to call in red hats. The American people deserve to celebrate the wins at the Olympics. It's a testament to the tenacity and character of our nation's people. Yet leadership in this country is shit, Mike. By the way, in 2022, thousands of innocent Americans were in jail, being abused and battered. To date, we have 0 arrests. But tell me how much time it takes to build a case we gift wrap for you. You cunts cannot even talk to the Sandia lab experts. We had proof of Dominion voting system evidence. Because you cunts don't give a shit about anything but punch-drunk bullshit and narratives that feed egos. Yeah, but sure, Kyle is bitter, and the bots and groupies will agree with you. That doesn't make you relevant. It makes you more evident. It makes it more evident that accountability and integrity are largely irrelevant. And just so you know, it only has 522 views because X gets to decide what is and is not seen. Again, social media, it is largely a game of don't stand against the machine. Or we have people, and we have people's people. And we just get to push our button and say, you're not going to see anything. And this was in response to Mike Davis saying that Kyle is a, what did he say? He's a, I think what he said is he's a bitter cunt. Talking about Kash Patel, basically lying. You know, I sat there. Somebody asked me, they're like, Joe, how did you write this? I was like, I don't know. I was sitting down and I was thinking about all the things that I just went through over the weekend. And I think it was a response to Robert's post. And he put up there me describing what happened when I was in Washington on Jan 6th, Jan 5th, 4th, 5th, 6th. And so here's what I wrote. Let's put it up. I should probably just go into writing. Maybe I'll just write posts, turn them into Substacks. Truth bomb. This is only for the smart slaves. So if you're not smart, please close your ears. American patriots, citizens, not the FBI, not the DOJ, citizens solved the 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025 election fraud. We proved it was stolen for decades. We did all the hard work while the stupid, retarded demons on both sides of the aisle covered it up. They betrayed the American people, used the media as the beat stick, and had their rotted judicial thugs and lawfare lawyers do the suppressing, persecution, and abuse. And they tell us to wait. We have it handled. You don't have shit handled. The leadership continues to lie, cheat, and steal from the people that was never theirs to take. Courage and conviction is all it takes. I can confidently say the American people know who the enemy is. It's not our Democrat brothers and sisters. It's not our independent brothers and sisters. It's the selected leaders who use dog whistles and ridiculous BS to keep us divided. Elon had to save the 2024 election. One man with a conscience to preserve all that is sacred about our nation. It wasn't too big to rig. It was Elon Musk swinging the sword to block the steal and ocean away. Only touching Dominion in the process. Imagine how much bigger the win would have been had it been extended to all the voting system platforms. It should not have had to been like that. But the FBI and the DOJ and the uniparty collective cartels are so deathly afraid that we will restore order and stop them from taking and enslaving the people. The fear of weak people not being able to grift and steal from good, strong, hardworking Americans was too much for them to let truth prevail. It would reveal so much and shatter the system that has enslaved the people for far too long. We are governed by weak, pathetic people. They are largely not good people. They are fraternity members of the haves who serve an ideology that keeps the knife at the throat of the people, regardless of color. They use our police, our military, and our system to oppress, intimidate, and destroy families selectively and with impunity while standing up for those who are not American. And then they use the media to cover their transgressions with lies and propaganda, and they continue to parrot nonsense that the stupid, indoctrinated, or groomed minority eat up. Mr. President, you have said it's taking far too long, and we agree. There must not be machines nor mail-in ballots. We must use paper ballots in person, and we must preserve the vote of the people and crush these demons once and for all. We already have the proof of the election fraud in the machines and the mail-in ballots. It's not theory. In fact, we know about Dominion, Sequoia, ES&S, Smartmatic. We know about the Serbians, the Venezuelans, and the American and Canadian traitors who have stolen our sovereignty and committed what can only be described as a slow boil of treason. Yet not one arrest, not one act of retribution for the people. We can see it, we can smell it, and we can feel it. We want justice, and the people on both sides of the aisle are done being the victims of this feasting evil that is betraying our country and our people. It's time, Mr. President. We are done with the charades, the lies, and the radical left retards who stand on corners and defend the indefensible. The American people served honorably. We have fought the machine knowing it was rotted and evil. We did this through the leftists and equally anemic, weak rhino selected central casting characters who stood as controlled opposition. The war is on. As I meet with Democrat, independents, and Republicans, I hear the same thing. Swing the sword and we will be there to back the greatest magistrate of our time. You. People on all sides have been used for theater. It's time to give back what we should never have lost. Their sovereignty, dignity, and freedom. We are not free men. We are slaves, and that must end. I put this up yesterday, and man, I got phone call after phone call after phone call. And I was like, listen, we have a brotherhood meeting tonight. I don't actually know how to solve this problem, because no matter where we go, where we turn, I have conversations with people that worked in the State Department, and you have John Eastman, super good guy. You have all these different people that are everywhere, and I've heard so many stories about me. I mean, from one that I'm 9 feet tall, to others that, oh yeah, Joe's the one that made up the stuff about Dominion voting systems. Dominion's fine, everything's great, and I'm thinking to myself, you guys are retarded. You guys are stupid. The fact that you could carry a narrative that the radical leftist and the media parrot shows me you're complicit or just retards. And you pick. You pick which one. Because if you're retarded, we'll get you a drip bag thing and let you run off drooling on yourself and acting stupid. But if you're complicit, the consequence should be greater. My problem is this. Tina Peters is still in jail. You're sitting here listening to me for the 100th time, probably more, talking about elections. What more could a man do? And when you see Kash Patel dancing and throwing beer down his throat while Americans are suffering, while Tina rots in jail, I'm disgusted. And look, it's not about, look, I've gone to football games. I have a suite. I go to hockey games. I go to basketball games. I love playing sports, love it still to this day, and I'm good at it. I love business, love getting my business done, and yet I get to spend time away from my family all the time. I think we're in February, and I think I was just saying that I was on my 18th flight. 18 flights in 2 months. And if you don't know what that means, that just means you're away from your family and you're giving up more than Kardashian Patel is willing to give. And then I had a guy who was commenting. Go ahead and put this last post up. All right, can you put up the post that this was tied to? Is that possible? Can you show that post? All right, so this is what the guy said, this brotheist. Now, this is in response to, go all the way to the top, if you would. Post that was put up by Real Robert. It says, I met with the NSA guys, I met with the ODNI people, I met with the lawyers, I met with the guys who said, how'd you get this information, mapped out how Dominion rigged systems, overthrow government, including right here in the US. I said, let me dig it, which I did. Now this idiot, after going through this video, said Well, I went through and mapped all the RFPs, RFQs, manuals, everything I had for Dominion, and I worked backwards to determine the vulnerabilities would be. And he says, oh yeah, that's ain't gonna work. You need access to the source code to determine how the system operates. Okay. Spoken like a true retard. So I responded. I said, yeah, no, you don't. You guys know what FFS means. FFS, you map the behaviors, map the previous elections on November 3rd, look at the system manuals and determine vulnerabilities. Then use the elections in 2020 in different states to build a probability of what part of the system would have the vulnerability for the outcome to be predictable Jan 5, 2021 in the runoff election, model below. And there's the model. And that's the same model, by the way, that I took to Washington, and I was like, listen, the Republicans are gonna win, the system's gonna come down, it's gonna come back up. And I even showed them how it was gonna happen. And I literally sat in this skiff with important people. I'm not that important. I'm just smarter than a fifth grader, I guess. I mean, everyone saw that the election was stolen. The only people that are left out in that cold are the people that believe the mainstream media. But I get told by people all the time that they know how things work and that you cannot build vulnerability indexes and show how things work based on that. And I want to keep in mind one thing. We did not know that you had to have an internet connection. And what does it say at the very top? It says internet connection. And here are the 6 vulnerabilities. And how did I map that? I mapped it with all the information that I had readily available that I was able to collect. There's a guy named The Researcher, super cool guy, sent me stuff. I mean, people sent me stuff. Like, here's the manual, here's the manual. The state of Colorado basically turned the document that was the manual into a non-searchable PDF so that when you went in to actually look for the information, you couldn't find it. We were able to find it, take that down. We had one for Missouri, we had one for Michigan, we had one that was put into a RFQ for Texas. We had all sorts of documents, all sorts of documents. And I'll tell all of you right now that you can go take this model and you can go walk it into anyone and say, is this how the system works? And they'll say, well, you know, it's not really adjudication on the envelopes. It's a signature match. It's adjudication. You're looking to make sure that the person that was intended to actually sign that ballot did. And I put the vulnerability on the flash drive because we know what happened in Wisconsin. I put it on the envelopes because we know what happened in Michigan, Maricopa, where basically the envelopes just disappeared, even though it's a part of the process. We looked at the signature verification on the mail-in ballots because that was the #1 thing. If you look at this model, you'll see it says phantom ballots and fraudulent ballots, and then real ballots, and how they moved into the tabulation and how that system of adjudication, when it went to adjudication, it would then take that information and it would suspend it. It's in the manual. It'll hold it. That if you have this ADA, which is a required system that allows for you to make up ballots out of thin air that look like they've been filled in by the human hand, yeah, that is inside the system. And so you can have what are called MBPs, mail ballot printers. You can create ballots out of thin air. And you can inject those at whatever rate you want, at any time frame you want, and the best way to do it is through mail-in ballots. But once you know the reason why you have to have the system come down and come back up, which by the way, it's gotten much, much better, because now they have another 4 or 5 years to cheat. Once you know who voted, then you know who didn't vote. And so having the ability to connect with something that told them what database or information needs to be plugged into those ballots that are suspended allows those to matriculate back down with valid, good to go outcomes. I didn't have Maricopa, I didn't have Mesa, I didn't have any of that stuff. And I'll bet you $1 million, $10 million, that this model was the one that I presented to John Eastman, that John Eastman presented to people in the Trump campaign, and that other people that he talked about when he was at Ellipsis, when he talked about how the system works. And everyone kept trying to figure out, how does this freaking guy Joe know this? And so I said, I'm clairvoyant, but everything that I said would happen on the runoff election with the 2 senators in Georgia happened 100%, without exception. No deviation. So much so that they're like, you need to go see President Trump. But again, everyone out there has this opinion, like, that's not how it works. You have to have access to the source code. And I'm thinking to myself, you guys are retarded. Take it down. Now let's talk about consequences. You want to hear what the consequences are? And this is, by the way, I'm not red pilling you. I'm not black pilling you. I'm not doing any of that stuff. Stolen elections have consequences. And now I'm gonna warn you. I hope that the words that I use today are not so prophetic that they push on a nerve to you where you feel that there's no hope. Because we didn't have hope in 2024, and there was a man named Elon Musk that stood in the middle and but God. But God. If we don't get rid of the machines and mail-in ballots, we have not won a midterm election yet. Actually, I think we might have won one. Republican strongholds in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Texas, state house seat, flipped blue, hadn't been blue ever, by a 22% margin, 22% margin. In Texas, Hyder Garcia's down there, working on those systems. You can't outvote the machines. And the left is already talking right now, Mr. President, they are already talking about what's going to happen when they actually regain office. They're talking about it. And besides the fact that we're still being victimized, a year into your presidency, we're still being victimized. We're still having to go through kabuki theater. We're still paying 56 cents on every dollar. We're still having to pay high prices in certain areas. We are still suffering. The American people are still carrying the burden while Somalis get free health care, free child care, free. And you have Arab Springs all over the United States. I mean, it's unbelievable. I look at it and go, we're still going through it right now. Nothing's better. Well, stock market hit 50,000. Let's just stick with that. We're about to go into Iran. Nobody's been arrested. If you want to settle the American people down, you don't look at it and say, well, this might affect the markets. You rip that Band-Aid off. You have a Julius Caesar moment. You do what's good for the American people, and then we work backwards in order to rebuild it. You get rid of the judges. You do whatever is necessary. And you're like, Joe, you're not about that life. I am about that life. And the American people are about that life because they're living a miserable existence. And I'm talking to Democrats. They're not happy. Republicans are not. You tell me one group of people that's happy right now, that's doing well. Mortgage rates are still at an all-time high. Yeah, you can buy gas for $2.20 a gallon. Yay! I could dance around, I guess. Maybe go back to drinking. Tina Peters is still in jail. There's still certain J6ers that had their sentences commuted. You have known fraud. You have known fraud by the DOJ that put people in prison because people lied. I hate to say it because I was never a fan when it was in, but the Tiger King guy, you guys see the Tiger King? So I had to go back and read this case because he reached out to me and he said, look, I've been trying to get a pardon. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go to Washington. I'll get an audience. And so I got people that are working on getting an audience, but I'm shitting on people. So who knows? You might have Kardashian Patel that can interfere with that too. Because they're all just a bunch of, they got weak constitutions. They don't know how to take any sort of criticism without crying and acting like little bitches, right? So, but the DOJ basically railroaded this guy. And the people admitted that they lied, and yet he's still in prison serving a 27-year prison sentence. It's unbelievable. But people get, murdered, and that guy gets 8 years. I mean, it is a known apparatus that literally is rotted to the core. Well, let me just tell you about this. Let me tell you what's coming so that you as the American people can make a decision on whether or not these people actually represent your interests. See, I believe the government is at war with itself. I believe that 100%. I believe President Trump is fighting an uphill battle. He hopes that he wins. He hopes he has people in the right place. But I promise you, there's a lot of Brutuses. I mean, look at what Bannon was doing. Steve Bannon, hanging out with the kid banger, the pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, bad-mouthing President Trump and trying to organize a coup that puts Mike Pence into the position as president. I mean, the fact that this is even a thing and that guy is still talking to people and the free pass you give him for hanging out with pedophiles, I'm out. And then somehow, no, it's 5D chess and he was just trying to ingratiate himself and, you know, that they're all working. He's some sort of secret spy for, get out of here. You're breaking bread and hanging out in a pedophile's house. But here's something to show you. This is a former Obama official. Okay, and I'm going to talk about it because guess who we have in our comments, and I commonly say this. The good Susan Rice. How many times have I talked about Susan Rice? What she did to Sudan, what she did in Libya, what she did related to Benghazi, what she did in Egypt, Syria. She's literally the pariah of pariahs. There's no one more dangerous and more subtly evil than that woman. She can smile at you, but if she smiles at you, she's probably doing harm to you. Susan Rice.
If these corporations think that the Democrats, when they come back in power, are going to, play by the old rules, and say, oh, never mind, we'll forgive you for all the people you fired, all the policies and principles you've violated, all, the laws you've skirted. I think they've got another thing coming. I think, whether you're a law firm, whether you're a university, whether you're a media entity, whether you're a big corporation, whether you're big tech, you need to play a long game, not this short game that has been so detrimental. There will be an accountability agenda. Companies already are starting to hear they better preserve their documents. They better be ready for subpoenas. If they've done something wrong, they'll be held accountable. And if they haven't broken the law, good for them. If they've done the right things, good for them. That also will be noted and remembered. But this is not going to be an instance of forgive and forget.
Right.
The damage that these people are doing is too severe to the American people and to our national interest.
Susan Rice. They're planning the demise. You think they're going to play by different rules. They're going to come in and literally act the way Nazis would act the way fascists would act. You think that J6 was something? No, that's a walk in the park. And I'm going to say this for everyone. Who comes after President Trump? Who comes after President Trump? Who's next? Who do we have that is a modern day Caesar? Who do we have? I think the Caesar moment has to happen with President Trump. I think he's strong enough to do it. Who do we have? Just show me who we have. There's no one. J.D. Vance? Well, that's interesting. Vivek Goswami or Goswami. That one? I mean, we're not even looking this with, we're looking at this the whole thing with beer goggles. Like, who would come after President Trump? Who is strong enough to speak the truth at all times, regardless of the consequences? We thought it was Dan Bongino. Well, that turned out to be false. Oh, if I only told you what I saw. Tell us what you saw. Oh, I'm not so bad. They can't even tell us the truth about the Epstein files. I mean, nothing. It doesn't. And even that, 6 million pages? 6 million pages get put out. Oh. There's tens of thousands of people involved in it. Business leaders. I mean, he has dirt on everyone. And we, by the way, stopped talking about the victims a long time ago. Now it's like Epstein files, as if it's just connections. No. These were people that raped small children, little girls, and little boys. I guess I don't know. President Trump called for Netflix to immediately fire Obama official Susan Rice. She wasn't just an Obama official. She was in the Biden administration. She was in the Clinton administration. And if you think that's bad, President Trump said we're getting rid of DEI. We're doing all this stuff, right? Across the country. He put stuff in place to say we're stopping this, right? We're not doing it. They took a pause for about 60 days thinking that President Trump was going to drive evil into the hole, and then it was just business as usual. Here you go. Thanks to DEI, this can happen. Let's play second. Cut two.
I'm firefighter Brooke Guinan. I've been on the job for just under 14 years.
Brooke Guinan leading diversity training to a class of new EMTs.
40% or more of transgender people will attempt or succeed in suicide at some point in their lifetime, which is a huge number, right? That's nearly half of the transgender population.
It's a lesson she wrote from her own experience battling depression while transitioning.
Was I going to reach out and take advantage of therapy and antidepressants, or was I going to end it all? Fortunately, I think I came to the conclusion that I needed help.
She knows what it's like to be on the other side of the uniform.
And I remember being a trans person dialing 911 and genuinely being fearful because there were strangers going to come into my house, and I didn't know how they were going to interact with me or treat me, or if they would see my humanity, or if they would see me as a thing or an object.
In 2016, an executive order from City Hall requiring transgender sensitivity training for all frontline workers in city agencies put this program in place.
I actually identify now as non-binary. I use the term femme.
Okay. I mean, it makes perfect sense that you should validate mental illness so that 40% of those people die. It makes perfect sense. I mean, we negotiate with, and we cater to, and we debate the ridiculous. But let's talk about something else. Comrade Mamdani says that they had some snow, so they needed shovelers because they couldn't find any. So you're gonna love this, but you have to have a valid ID. Play it.
There's been this controversy over the snow laborers and the sort of what some see as onerous need to have documentation. Can you just talk about if that's new and what you make of the controversy?
This is all long-standing. This is a long-standing program and long-standing requirements, and this is a way that New Yorkers get paid to shovel snow in assistance with the city's response to a winter storm event. Federal law requires that employers get authorization and documentation to pay people for their work. We are not allowed to just cut checks to individuals for their work. And these are the policies that we've had in place, but I understand that for many it's the first time that they've ever heard about it.
No, it's not the first time I ever heard about it, you stupid fool. You little midget, non-American. But they're not worried about disenfranchising people because, you know, you got to have two forms of ID? No, you have to have four. 4 forms of ID in order to shovel snow. But you don't need an ID to vote. Our system is literally, you'd have to be half retarded to think that you're not being run by the biggest morons in the world that have convinced you that we want to, it's because we don't want to have some sort of disenfranchisement. Let's talk about the disenfranchisement of education. We can start there. I mean, we have kabuki theater when it comes to education. Kabuki theater. Man, I don't even know. Today was a hard day because it all came crashing down. The Olympics closed, and it all became clear. You know, like I don't even know. I don't even know how to explain it. And yeah, I really, I care about the people out there that are normal people every day that have to carry this burden that they carry. Tollways everywhere, property tax, so you rent your house from the government. I mean, everything, everywhere we turn, we are enslaved into a system. And look, this isn't some sort of oh, we're slaves. No, we have become the boiled frog. And we can stop it at any time. We just say, we're done. We're done. We're done playing your game. You don't get any more money from us. And it takes mass amounts of people to understand the power that they have. I get it. And it seems antithetical to, like, how do we do that? Well, you make sense of all this for me, please. And every time I put something up, I get the village idiots that say something, and I'm like, I go back and I read what I wrote, and I'm like, okay, how does that apply to that? But they put nonsense up underneath your stuff as if they can argue something, thinking somebody's just going to go to the comments rather than read the entirety of what you wrote. Because we're retarded. Like, we live in a world of just a bunch of retards. And for the woman that actually sent me something that said, you know, you're actually hurting people who are actually, you know, disabled. No. I'm taking back the word retard. That means that someone is dumber than a box of rocks. People that are disabled, they're not dumber than a box of rocks, they're disabled. Retarded people are retarded. That's like a real thing. Now let's talk about what's happening right now that I think it's escaping me that it's not a bigger deal. And that we're not in the middle of Mexico, basically. We could walk in, and in 15 minutes, we could destroy the entire cartel network in Mexico. 15 minutes, we could do it, just to the south of us. In 15 minutes, we could destroy the cartel. But right now, there's complete chaos. The Jalisco New Generation cartel leader, Nemesio El Mencho Ozenguera Cervantes, I don't even know, there's like 8,000 names. It's like, they might as well just say, Encyclopedia El Mencho was killed and his son was captured. So here's a news report about what has unfolded in Mexico. Let's play it.
Fire, smoke, and chaos across several Mexican states. Cities brought to a standstill as criminal groups retaliate after Mexico's most wanted drug leader died following a military operation Sunday. Blocked highways, drivers forced out of their cars at gunpoint, trucks and buses set on fire. Nemesio Oceguera Cervantes, a former police officer known to most as El Mencho, was the leader of the Jalisco New Generation cartel, wounded during a Mexican military operation and later died while being transported to Mexico City. The U.S. played a role in Sunday's operation, according to U.S. defense officials, though it's unclear to what extent. As fear spread, many Mexicans spoke out calling for an end to the violence.
People are aware of this violence, and what they want is peace, to live in harmony and justice, not in war.
Blockades were reported across various states, and classes were suspended in at least 3 states as officials tried to contain the violence and keep civilians off the streets.
I'm tired of seeing this continue every single day.
Under El Mencho's command, the cartel expanded rapidly, challenging rivals like the Sinaloa cartel for control of territory and trafficking routes. According to U.S. and Mexican officials, El Mencho managed to avoid capture for years. His detention and death is one of the most significant blows to organized crime in recent years, and the first high-profile operation under President Claudia Sheinbaum. The fall of El Mencho may mark a major security milestone, but with tourism, foreign investment, and security for the 2026 World Cup at stake, the world is watching how Mexico handles what comes next. Valeria Leon, CNN, Mexico City.
And here's footage capturing inside the Guadalajara airport. People were running as armed men open fire on civilians, some Americans. Let's play it.
No mames. ¿Están bien? Gente corriendo. Vente más. Corre, 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 corre.
Whew, man. We can go in and snatch the leader out of Venezuela, but Mexico cartels can operate with impunity in there. And by the way, the guy that Mencho, he was a police officer, because most of them are. Most of the police it's one of the biggest problems that they have in Mexico is that the cartel is the police, so they're shooting at each other. And there's more and more people that are actually waking up to this idea, but for years the cartels have victimized people. Now, here's what I will tell you is happening that you should probably know. The people of Mexico, they're arming themselves. They're tired of the cartels. But you look at the cartels, those cartel leaders are literally head to toe in battle rattle. They're actually covered from head to toe. I mean, unless you air condition or canoe somebody's head, you're likely going to hit body armor. All right, let's go to comments for a minute. Let's do that. What do we got here? Diesel said abolish warning labels. No idea what that is. Retarded equals should know better but commit to stupidity. That's Chris, that's true. Peters is tricky, but government equals bureaucracy. Ghislaine was moved to a federal prison, draft the documents, send the marshals. They can move GMAX and not Tina. It's bullshit. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. They can grab her under a federal witness warrant yesterday. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. Cartels are getting their arms from Ukraine. Yes, they are. Man, you're on top of it. They are getting their stuff from cartels. Well, listen, I would stay for longer, but I think I've given you enough bad news for the day. I just want our leaders to do what they're supposed to do, right? They're leaders. But how many of them actually lead? They give us some word salad that looks like it came out as I don't even know what. How's your campaign going? I'm here because I just found out you're running. Go away. It's going well. It's going really well. I mean, I have another event tomorrow that I'll be speaking to a large group of people. It's actually going better with the Democrats than it is the Republicans. Isn't that weird? In other words, it goes well with the Republicans. I get in, I talk about the things that we need to do. But when you go meet with Democrats, because I wanted to see, like, what are we facing here? Like, what do Democrats want? And they tell me what they want. And I was like, so you want opportunity, you want to get rid of this, better education, get rid of, this is another weird thing about the Democrats is they want to get rid of the pride flag too. They just want to stop the rift, just get rid of it. You're not special, you want to show up, you want to be gay, you want to be a purple dinosaur, be a purple dinosaur. Well, when you're in class, you're going to learn math, science, English. These are the things you're going to learn. It's the MAGA boomers you'll have to win over. Yeah, I don't know. I went and spoke to this group in Chicago, and I got to meet with a pastor who's kind of he's a MAGA pastor, but he's from Chicago, right? And we sat down and were able to create common ground very quickly. And I was like, here's the things that I'm seeing. And he's like, that's absolutely right. It's absolutely right. So Gove says, worried about a dirty sheriff getting Trump's endorsement in California. Yeah. Yeah, I am thinning on top a little bit. Quite a bit, actually. I was thinking I'd go to Turkey or something. What are you thinking? Go to Turkey? Hey, you know what happened? It's 6 years of this fight happened. 6 years of this fight. They're servants. We expect them to lead, not serve. Serve, not lead. Sorry, we are the people who need to take back our power. I agree. Yeah, what is the thing about it? It's Jefferson County Republicans? And everyone keeps telling me to be safe. I am going to be safe, yeah. I'm going to go to this luncheon tomorrow and speak. It should be fun. It should be super, super fun. So I got to be there with Jason Milk Toast. Just kidding, Milksell. Mikesell, who's a sheriff. Good guy. I hope to, yeah. All right, I'm gonna let you guys go. It is Monday. I think I've told you enough. Today was a tough day for me because of just how bad the ridiculousness is, and yeah, I love the fact that we won live stream tomorrow. I don't know. I have no idea. I love the fact that we actually won gold for not just the men's hockey, but the women's hockey. I've never seen Joe in multiple environments. He's never failed to win people over, given the opportunity to really listen to him. Joe plugs Oltmann. That'll leave the moniker to Biden. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. You know, I don't have a problem winning people over because I'm not going to lie to them. Yeah, everything's going really well. I mean, I'm having conversations with other candidates. I'm out on the trail. I'm still spending time with my family, which is good. And yes, you can go to Oltmann 2026, OLTMANN 2026.com, and you can become a supporter if you want to. Or you could actually carry around something that I carry around everywhere with me. I got some great stories for this weekend in Chicago. My Uber driver was pretty awesome. It's a black dude that has never been married, that talks about working with kids and things like that. So I gave him one. But you can go to, where am I going to go? Help me. Honorbound. HonorboundUSA.com. You can go there and you can pick up some of these coins. Which is better because then you can actually become a ambassador of truth, give it to people and tell them it's the 4 things that you have to do. You have to pray, you have to stand, you have to speak, you have to act. Yeah, go there. The women's hockey team is turning down the offer to attend the State of the Union tomorrow night. Are you serious? Yeah. See, this is what happens when you allow radical leftists to run things. And when we're quiet. You want to be the silent majority? Okay, be the silent majority. If you want to act as if you're holier than thou and don't use the word retard and not be strong and be effeminate men, then be effeminate men. Do that. Let them win. Let them take your children. They've already taken one generation. Let's just have them take the next one too. Unbelievable. Campaign promise, all fathers are guaranteed equal custody and divorce is a no-brainer and we'll get men out to vote. Yeah, I mean, look, I'd love to say that, but we can't even get men out there to take care of can't get them out there to take care of the fact that their kids are in school and look, we've already proven it, by the way. If you go into a school with 75, 80, 100 men, you go into that school and you tear down the pride flags and the police show up and they're like, yeah, we're going to arrest you. Like, no, you're not. You're not arresting anyone. You're not touching one of us. Right? But be willing to stand up for it. Again, I'll come back to what I said at the very beginning of this. What are you willing to lose to win? And it seems like we want to talk about it and be keyboard warriors, but we don't want to actually get what we need to get done in order to preserve. So, I mean, until we get to that place, until we get to the place where men can start being men, we're going to continue to have the radical left with DEI and everything else. And an education system that looks like it was put together by Mickey Mouse. Yeah, really bad. Okay. Let's pop out. I'm going to pray us out. All right, Father God, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I just say thank you for patience. I know President Trump's got to have a lot of it. Thank you for our leaders like Bobby Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth. I can't say enough good things about those three. Two of them are Democrats. To think, just, I mean, we gotta, Father, I just feel like we have to embrace the irony of it. But we are grateful for the blessings that we have in our life. We're grateful for this amazing country, 250 years, Father. And only when we started turning away from you did we get a little crazy. And accountability and consequences and just ethics and morals just go by the wayside. So we're asking for your help, Father, to restore us. And we know that with you, anything is possible. Without you, nothing is possible. So, Father, please give us the ability to stand in the gap and do what's necessary, support President Trump, be strong, make sacrifices, and do the things that are necessary to preserve and protect our children, our community, and restore you to the very essence of what we do on a daily basis. We can see it. We can see so many people coming to you, Father. But I just ask you to give us the ability to be able to press forward and press into pushing away this evil that seems to have rotted out every part of our systems in our country. And we're not alone. It's every country, it seems. Father, we just ask for guidance, patience, humility, courage, and the ability to work together, set aside those differences we may have, and get to a place where we can really work the problem as Americans. Help us to be patient, Father, and help us to do what is right, to represent you well in everything that we do. We ask these things humbly in Jesus' name. Amen. Yeah, the good Susan Rice, it's good to see you. Who else we got there? Olympians dissing U.S. should be required to pay back all taxpayer funds used in their training and sponsorship. I agree. Yes, I agree. All right. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. You can go and hit the share button. Wherever you are, hit the share button. You can donate at Oltmann2026.com. And we're going to be doing a huge push. We're going to call it the Patrick Byrne push. We got to raise $2 million. Let me just tell you what this is about. And some of you are like, I can't. Well, can or won't are two different things. Patrick Byrne is $85 million in the hole. Sold everything he has. Houses, cars, everything. We have whistleblowers that are sitting in safe houses. And Patrick's really terrible at asking for money. And to get everything across the very end of this finish line, it's going to take about $2 million. We're on Audacity. Odyssey, A-U-D-A-C-Y. We're on Odyssey, aren't we? Anyway, we're going to have to raise $2 million. So as you go out there and share and do all the things that you do, know that on our side, we are going to do a really big push to raise that $2 million. And I've got a couple of high dollar donors that are going to do $100,000 matches, so we'll get that as well. But we've got to raise $2 million in a very short period of time. And so just keep that in mind as you are sharing. I'll be talking to Peter Tickton about what that looks like, but we need to make sure we get these whistleblowers safely across the finish line over the next couple months. So anyway, stay prayed up, keep praying, and we'll see you on the other side. God bless you.
Whoa, whoa. The forgotten and the free, exposing rigged machines, Kuma's lies, Dominion's deceit, pays a grand each day, shielding truth from corrupt halls, but he won't back down, standing tall through leaders break the chains that bind her tight. Hand count votes and one day bring the fraud to light. No more mailing scams, no machines to steal the night. Restore the people's voice, make Colorado right. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Badass for the have-nots, fighting through and through. Abolish property tax, cut the tolls away. Shrink the bloated state, let the people have their say. It's our rally call. Truth and freedom rise and watch the tyrants fall. Untamed Colorado, strong and proud, we'll be one man for the people, set our great state free. Help the single moms, bring back trade school strong. Opportunity for youth, where the brave belong. Audit every NGO, ban the wolves that roam. Reclaim our stolen land, bring the power home. Eric Coomer's fraud dominions, rig design. Expose the stolen votes, cross a dangerous line. No more victimhood, no chains on you and me. He's running for governor for real liberty. Smash the fraud machine, pardon heroes jailed. For the have-nots, rising truth will never fail. One warrior defies the corrupt elite. Colorado reborn, strong on our feet. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Badass for the have-nots, fighting through and through. Abolish property tax, cut the tolls away. Shrink the bloated state, let the people have the say. Governor Oltmann, it's our rally call. Truth and freedom rise and watch the tyrants fall. Untamed Colorado, strong and proud, we'll be one man for the people, set our great state free. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Governor Oltmann, freedom forever, Colorado rise. Governor Oltmann, Governor Oltmann, Governor Oltmann, Governor Oltmann, Governor Oltmann, Governor Rise up untamed, in the heart of the fight where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real, no more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Tame nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave